Welcome to the Ask Dr. Deanna show. I'm Dr. Deanna Osborne, your host. Join me weekly as I cover various health-related lifestyle medicine topics that you get to request. This show is for anyone who wants to proactively improve their health position. I hope you enjoy the show. Well, I am excited to be with you today. Welcome to the Ask Dr. Deanna podcast. This is another episode, and I am so excited because I have my very dear friend on and am planning to do sort of an interview style of podcast today. I think that you'll really enjoy what she has to share. Eunice Ray is not only a good friend of mine, but also an incredible mentor. She has been incredible in terms of transformation in her own health. And she is also the publisher of my book, Dr. Deanna's Healing Handbook. So I'm really excited. She's a publisher and has worked in that field for many, many years and just has incredible background experience. And it's kind of funny when you think about a publisher and on a health podcast, but that's where we are because she has done the do. And man, she's just fantastic from a research standpoint and has just gained so much. So Eunice, welcome to the Ask Dr. Deanna podcast.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on. This is a day I've sort of been anticipating this, looking forward to that opportunity. So thank you.
You are very welcome. Hey, I want to just jump right in. I want to start off just by asking you to share a little bit about your own transformation, your health transformation, because it is, people look at you, they see your energy, they see that you have no weight to lose whatsoever. You're just, doing great. And my goodness, from a mental standpoint, cognitive standpoint, you are probably the sharpest person I know. You are so tech savvy as well. And that says a lot to me. And so they would never know that you actually struggled with some health issues at one point. So if you want to share your transformation as a starting point, that'd be incredible.
Well, yes, I did. And I don't think I'm unusual. It all began with gaining weight after my two children, and I really never got back to me. I'm 75. And so that's been a long time, by the way. So, but my mother and father both died before they were 70, one with heart disease and the other with cancer. So I knew genetically, the doctor always wants to know who died of what. I was compromised. There's no question. But you taught me that genetics isn't destiny. And that was huge, that I could learn how not to trigger life shortening and life limiting genes. And I wanted to be healthy. I mean, that was always the goal and vital for all my years. And I didn't want to be a burden to my children. I didn't want to spend my retirement chained to my bedroom or my bathroom. I needed to go further than my house. And I've been able to accomplish that. But I started kind of late. But I know it doesn't matter when you start. You just need to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. And you made just a tremendous transformation, got healthy again. Like I said, your level of research is tremendous. You are always looking for what is next on the horizon and what else can I do, even when it seems like you have, found a very healthy balance. I love that you are still looking for more and to step it up even further. And we often talk about that. How do we improve our health position? And improving health position is kind of one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. And a lot of times I hear you tell people a super simple plan. I will hear you say, it's simple. It's simple. Okay. No grain, no sugar, and nothing to eat after 7 p.m. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about that? Just share with people a little bit about your simple plan, because it does work. It gets incredible results. You know that I love that plan as well. So why don't you share some of that?
Well, the reason I'm always watching the trends, particularly in health, is because there are always new discoveries. And I learned that my weight struggles could become health struggles and that was universal. this is a huge problem. 70% of us are metabolically unfit. And that just simply means our energy engine doesn't work like it should. We eat and we're not getting the benefits of the foods we're eating. And I was pretty unhappy to learn that the standard American diet, which has been around since the 1990s, was wrong in its suggestion that we eat 6 to 11 daily servings of rice, cereal, bread, and pasta. Not that I don't love those foods, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to fuel my body, especially as you get older, in the most efficient way possible. I learned and I was shocked that we have two engines in our bodies. One is the default engine, the one that kind of goes into automatic, is fueled by sugars. That would be sugar and grains and so forth, and that the other's fueled by fats. And I had lived for the last 20 years. You told me, we all talked about, we can't eat fats. Oh, they're terrible for you, right? I mean, how was that? 20 years of no fat? And so I learned you could turn on that old crusty fat burning engine that never got turned on ever. And that was the goal. I was a sugar burner. I was eating 3 meals a day. I was grazing, snacking, eating after dinner. And I looked like a cookie. I was a dumpling and perfect for a grandmother. I have 6 grands. So you got to be able to keep up with them. And I didn't want to fall behind. So after I read your healing handbook, I began to understand what you said, and is now echoed by Dr. Mindy Pell's Fast Like a Girl and many, many others. All of these doctors like you who are speaking to us directly about health. And, doctor means teacher. So you're teaching us what to do. So, the idea of no sugar, no grains is that we have essential amino acids, essential proteins. We need essential fats, essential fatty acids. There are no essential carbohydrates. Oh my gosh, cookies aren't essential. So, anyway, I thought, okay, if they're not essential, I'm not going to ask my body to burn those. Okay. And I learned that there was a whole nother way of looking at food, thinking about it. And there was only one way to get there, and that is no sugar, no grains, and nothing after dinner, at least for 12 hours. And that's when most everybody failed. That's when I failed. I deserved popcorn or ice cream, a bowl of ice cream in my me time after dinner, after a long, hard day. And I went to bed, waddled to bed with all that on my tummy, and I wasn't sleeping well. There were a lot of things about that. So if you leave the standard American diet and go into a place where you're eating really good produce, really good vegetables and fruits, and eating really good meat, and I'm talking grass-fed meat, wild-caught seafood, free-range chickens, and fowl, then you will find that you can eat that food and you will begin to fuel your body by the fats that you eat, and they will hold you and keep you from craving, which I found stunning. And it has transformed my life, really. I was the person who thought about when lunch was over, I was thinking, okay, what are we going to have for dinner? And okay, what are we going to have for breakfast? I was food focused. And now I'm not a chain, or I'm not chained or imprisoned to food anymore.
You're food free.
Yay, yes.
I tell you, I love when a food that I eat, when I break my fast, and if I'm eating something that has no carb in it, I get really excited because I consider it food free. I don't have to count it because I do a little bit of carb rationing, if you will, in terms of knowing, and I don't really count calories so much. I just count my eating window and the carbs, and that's pretty much it. So if there was one thing, knowing, and we talk back and forth all the time, Eunice, we talk about, fasting and what works for this age group might not work for that age group. It's not one size fits all. The guy who's, 30 years old and hitting the gym or whatever is going to have a different caloric requirement fat requirement, protein requirement than what a postmenopausal woman would have, just massively different. And so we talk about that. But if there was one universal change that you could make in the standard American diet in terms of what people are consuming on a regular basis, like what would that one change be if you could make one?
I would give up sugar in all its manifestations, even the healthy, good local honey everybody tells me about. There's no reason to eat that sugar, and it becomes as addictive as it can be. And it is the heroin of the food world. I mean that sincerely. And most people have no idea that they're addicted and that this sugar can severely limit or shorten their lives when there's so many better foods, so many delicious and better for you foods. You will never meet or miss the sugar. So sugar is probably my downfall. I have diabetes in our family. Every generation we don't skip a one, and I'm sure that it is perpetuated not only genetically but by the fact of food waste. I learned to cook in my mother's kitchen, and she taught me. We have our favorite recipes and all those sort of things. So it is handed down genetically and let's say orally, literally. Okay, it's like a good story, well told. And but there are a couple of things really quickly I'd like to just say. Yes, age matters, Deanna. When I was in my 30s and 40s, I could go, and if I decided to kind of lay off and not eat too much in a month, I could lose 15 pounds. As soon as I got past 50, I couldn't eat. I could not eat for a year and not lose 15 pounds. So it becomes very different. And I think that even so, that the sooner you start understanding food and how to fuel your body and the advantages of good fat, I think you're way ahead, and your systems will respond better and you'll last longer. Because at this stage, Dr. Peter Attia says one thing. He said, "What do you want to be able to do in your 80s and 90s?" Nobody ever asks us that. We never even think about that ourselves. I've never had a doctor say, "Hey, what do you want to be able to do in your 80s and 90s?" Well, I have to sit and think about that. Well, I'd like to be able to go. I'd like to be, he says, "Do you want to be able to hike, to pull a 50-pound compound bow? What do you want to be able to do?" Well, whatever it is, you better start pretty soon, because you must look at it and know that body systems are just like a car. If you wear out your knees, if you wear out your digestion, you need to give your body the rest it needs. That's fasting. You need to give it the food it requires, and that is eating healthfully and frankly learning the content, what not to eat from the standard American diet. There are many, many wonderful foods, and I find them fascinating and delicious. And my kitchen I am as happy eating this way as I was when I was the cinnamon roll bun queen, and cookie queen for my grandchildren. They love this food as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Eunice. I love this message, because this message is a message that transcends all ages, all age groups. So the no sugar, eliminating that is, it is amazing to me when I think about health and wellness, and I think about the impact that we could have, and I think about disease processes and just all of the diseases that I deal with in my practice on a daily basis. And I think about, if we could just get control of what is at the end of our fork, literally what we're eating, and get rid of those addictions, because you're right, sugar is addictive. That's proven in science. You can look at the brain scans and so forth. The sugar will light you up just like heroin will. Actually, even can be a little stronger even. And so when you look at that and you see the change that can be made, that's a change for everybody. And when you look at healthcare costs in our country in particular, what a difference that would make, just to get people to go, sugar free. I'm not saying use a bunch of sugar free substitutes or anything like that. I'm saying just get the sugar off of the diet, because your brain will function so much better. Your body will function so much better. It will make such a difference. And, not only that, but so much of that sugar, is in products that are, just heavily processed, lots of really harsh ingredients that are not doing your body a favor at all. And so it is a transition. And that's what you've done. You've transitioned from just what am I going to eat next to how am I going to fuel my body? Food as fuel, because that is what it is. Food is fuel. And if you are not getting the basic, nutritional requirements to fuel your body, and the amazing thing is the body is it runs like a high end car or whatever, as far as, how it will operate on the right fuel. That's the amazing thing, and so you can take it from a clunker, okay, to a very fast sports car just by what you're putting in your body and what you're eating on a daily basis. So I appreciate that message so much.
Well, I'm a Ferrari, just saying.
I know you are. I know you are. So thanks so much for joining today, Eunice. I know that everybody has loved hearing from you, and I think it is fantastic to for you to say I'm 75 and I'm looking at here's how I feel and here's what I'm doing and whatever. And I know, I mean, there's hardly a person I know that can keep up with you mentally, especially. Okay, you are absolutely firing on all cylinders, and Ferrari style for sure. So that's the new name. Okay, the Ferrari. Anyway. Yep, I appreciate all that you've shared, and I look forward to having you back on again in the future.
I would love to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Love you. Thanks, Doc.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. For more information, visit me at deannaosborne.com. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Deanna Osborne. I really want to hear from you, so message me. I love taking your messages and creating topics from them. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share my show with those who have an interest in health and wellness. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next week.